The first is definitely the risk for civilians in Gaza. We are not just, I don't know what the government said. It was only 1% of the aid, which is definitely not the truth. We measure the aid by the number of people that are served at the right place at the right moment. That's how we measure efficiency and impact of humanitarian aid. And we gave 50% of food, all these INGOs together. I'm looking at my figures now. 60% of field hospital are operated by these INGOs. 75% of the refugees are given by these INGOs. We, Oxfam, are very good and expert with what we call WASH, so water, sanitation, hygiene, to make sure that people have access to clean water, have access to showers, to toilets, obviously, and other hygiene materials that are key, especially for women. And this is delivered, 42% of these, all total of this aid is delivered by NGO. So you can imagine the huge impact on the civilians if we were all banned from Gaza. And especially this is a tight ecosystem. We work with the UN, we work with local Palestinian organizations all together. So if one of us collapses, then the whole system collapses as well. And at this moment, it's even worse because this is winter. We've seen the terrible rain shelling away, very weak shelters that the people receive, because many shelters actually are still blocked by Israel at this moment. There are many displacements in West Bank, as we can see. So this is definitely not the moment to weaken even more humanitarian aid access. Well, they want a complete list of our staff because they claim that some of our staff can participate to some potential terrorist activities. Operating humanitarian work in Gaza is operating in the most vetted humanitarian environment in all the countries you operate. So we have controls, audit by multiple bodies like UN, like obviously our own institutional donors, by Canada, obviously for us. So it's definitely really under very strict compliance rules that we obey for many decades now. So nothing new. Now they use as well another criteria, which is NGOs could work on activities that are delegitimizing Israel. So this is really a vague criteria because we know that it's for the moment it's quite arbitrary. We thought it would be just a list, for example, or give us a list and then you'll be registered. But we know that some NGOs have been registered without giving the list. And even if we give the list, we could be anyway, even if we comply, which we would not, and I give you the reason why, we would be after that maybe potentially stopped for another vague reason because we would have delegitimized, sorry about that word, we would have delegitimized activities against Israel. So definitely that is a process that is not acceptable. It's not acceptable providing a list of our staff because it's against our humanitarian principle, because it gives Israel new and a precedent authority over Palestinian occupied territory for humanitarian aid, because sometimes it goes, not sometimes, in this specific case, it goes against data protection international regulations. And definitely is duty of care for our staff. More 500 workers have been killed. So why should we give to one party to the conflict very personal data on our staff? It put more risk, and it put more risk as well in the region, because if we disappear, if we are impeded to do our work, then definitely others will do. Armed group, informal, more insecure context for people, for civilians. Moreover, obviously, the direct impact on the population where they have less access to services and help.